Emmanuel Hostin, the husband of The View host Sonny Hostin, has been accused of widespread insurance fraud, and Sonny basically admitted to it on camera. Let's talk about it.
Like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. So that makes Sonny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them.
Dumbest of them all. Sonny Hostin just walked into a legal hurricane that could have been a Netflix thriller, and whose front row, cracking jokes like it's roast night, Greg Gutfeld and Kat Timpf, torching her like it's Thanksgiving again, subpoena in hand, her husband's jaw-dropping $450 million fraud case. It's the scandal of the season. Gutfeld's punchlines, hitting harder than that court summons, Kat. She's throwing shade strong enough to eclipse the sun, the drama, messier than those alleged offshore accounts, and way funnier. Sonny probably thought it was just another day to play queen bee on The View, finger-wagging, eye-rolling, handing out life advice like she's the nation's moral compass. Same smug tone, same superiority complex, and a giant dose of I'm always right. Well, not today.
You look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sonny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable.
Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sonny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Dave Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases.
Justice clapped back, and the headlines? They screamed that Sonny's husband is drowning in a fraud case so big, it makes Madoff look like a lemonade scammer. Greg and Kat didn't comment. They feasted that it was a legal roast served hot, with extra smug on the side. Gutfeld sliced through the scandal like a chef on a mission. Kat? She laughed like she'd been saving Sonny receipts for years. Label. Open when karma hits to her. This wasn't news. This was the season finale. That's Sonny's moral halo, burned under the spotlight at what's left, a shiny tiara of pure contradiction.
I just want to hit myself in the face so I can feel something. You know, it's like so boring. He's like, yeah, I like Instacart, but don't worry, I tip the poors. But, you know, Joy, you actually don't like Instacart, and you do like the store. And then Joy is like, yeah, I do. I like to go to the store. I like to walk around and see what's at the store, what I do want, what I don't want. Maybe I want tuna fish, and I just want to hit myself.
Let's be real, if hypocrisy was a brand, The View would be a global chain. And Sonny, the regional manager of fake virtue, she preached ethics for years. Now her home's a fraud movie spin-off, and she's pretending nothing's happening. That's not consistency. That's plot hole propaganda. But this time, karma's writing the script, and Gutfeld's dropping punchlines. Allegedly yours, Sonny's new show where she dodges subpoenas in style, and Kat didn't even speak, just looked at her like, girl, we've been new.
It's about The View. It's like it's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth and when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest scum.
Kat and Greg didn't just roast. They demolished, they tore down The View's fake throne like a $3,000 IKEA shelf. All flex, no stability today as Sonny's contradictions collapsed. Greg poured a drink and toasted to poetic justice. No chaser, his sarcasm, not sprinkled. It was a full-blown water park, and everyone was invited to ride through Sunny's shredded credibility, her moral high horse, flatlined and Kat, sipping tea and schadenfreude city, front row, half smirk locked in as she pitched a new segment. Financial crimes and finger-wagging, a masterclass in having it both ways. Sunny just became the latest museum exhibit of public figures who thought moral superiority was immunity. Spoiler, it's not.
Witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
They said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moon.
But Greg wasn't letting Kat have all the fun that he pitched, Sunny's wheel of hypocrisy. Spin the wheel, land on fraud, privilege, or selective outrage. Genius. Meanwhile, backstage, pure chaos. Soap opera meets crisis PR with clueless interns running the show. Cue cards, smoking, teleprompters, glitching like lie detectors on overload. Producers, screaming, quick, mention Meghan Markle, anything but the $450 million fraud elephant. And the co-hosts, the same ones who can sniff a GOP sneeze from 6 time zones away. Now it's all respect her privacy. And we're spreading love and light today. Yeah, okay.
All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys.
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines.
Lawyers are now involved. And The View? Not touching this with a 10-foot Joy Behar monologue. Hypocrisy? Screaming. Greg Gutfeld looked like someone handed a flamethrower to a guy juggling fireworks. Kat? Sipping sarcasm like it was The Bachelor. Ethics edition. Watching fake virtue melt in real time. Even the fake plants on set might sue for defamation. This wasn't just a meltdown. It was a talk show ego implosion that a smug empire tripped on its own lectures and face-planted into poetic justice. While The View scrambled for damage control, Greg and Kat hit max sarcasm mode at no mercy. No filter. Just primetime mockery. Sunny's moral GPS apparently detoured down deflection lane and skipped accountability boulevard. Why now? They weren't just roasting The View. They were popping the elite hypocrisy balloon just to hear a wheeze, we're better than you. America, front row. Popcorn ready. Waiting for The View to spin this mess like moral fanfiction. Greg even reframed the whole thing as a masterclass in self-parody, their weekly sermons. Right-wingers are evil, greedy, corrupt. Now, Sunny's financial fairy tale just turned into Law and Order, View Unit, and this scandal, not a parking ticket. This is Wall Street execs whispering damn in smoky rooms level fraud.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Kat never misses a beat. She practically walked through the fourth wall and called it out. The View went full mute at no fiery debate, no outrage, just awkward silence, wrapped in PR-approved love and light fluff, because when one of their own is under fire, turns out that moral outrage. Yeah, it has an off switch, their reaction. A shrug, the same show that melts down when a conservative breathes funny. Suddenly had nothing to say. No panel debates to no dramatic music cues, just a quiet topic shuffle like $1. $450 million fraud case was a wardrobe malfunction. Now imagine if it were someone on the right. Meghan McCain. She'd be tied to a stake, roasted live mid-segment, and served with a side of Joy Behar fury. But since it's sunny, radio silenced and no speeches. No tears. Just eerie quiet. Greg clocked it instantly. Started spinning comparisons like it was double standard bingo night, he said. It's like irony packed its bags, moved to Manhattan, and bought front row season tickets to The View. And Kat? She sprinkled sarcasm like sea salt on a scandal Sunday. She pointed out what wasn't said. Did I know sunny soliloquy? Did I know righteous fury? Did I know justice will prevail speech? Just silence. The kind that echoes when the soapbox suddenly collapses.
No, I'm also not surprised that there's one part of the video from the show yesterday that you left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can we roll that, please?
I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen it.
Who is that?
Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of The Five. Who, if I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say this: his show should be called Kat Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
Somebody's flirting with little Kat over here.
Well, she's the Republican one at the table, but I just think as a libertarian, I'm always looking to find common ground with other people because nobody really shares my politics. So I find some common ground in The View where she thinks I'm funny and I agree.
There you
Was anyone really surprised? Nope. Kat nailed it with her dry wit. Kamala showed up more during the primaries. And Greg, he turned that sarcasm dial so hard, he probably short-circuited the studio lights. This wasn't just commentary, this was satire as performance art. Irony didn't just show up, it tap-danced across every inch of Sunny's so-called moral high ground. And no, Greg didn't suggest a GoFundMe for Sunny's legal migraine. Too basic. He pitched a nationwide popcorn fund, because let's be real, the people deserve snacks while watching the sanctimony ship sink in 4K, but he wasn't done. Not even close. Greg cranked the heat again. Sunny's next move? Forget law. Forget TV, it's time for a book deal. Title: Rules for Thee, Loopholes for Me, because this wasn't just hypocrisy. This was hypocrisy slow-cooked, sous vide, and served on fine china. The woman who built a brand preaching justice and ethics. Turns out she lived in a house where the financial records had more plot twists than an M. Night Shyamalan flick, and The View's reaction. A group hugged out a collective case of selective amnesia. Classic, because over there, accountability is as rare as common sense. During a live taping, they acted like a $450 million scandal was just a bad dream, something they could manifest away. Namaste. Fraud allegations. Kat wasn't letting that circus pass without lighting fireworks. She straight up reminded the audience. The View once turned a minor conservative misstep into a week-long ethics TED Talk. If gravity had a political bias, they'd probably find a way to blame the GOP. And now, there's $450 million hanging in the air like a wrecking ball, and The View wants to pivot to Fashion Week. Kat even pitched a rebrand. The Skew show where any uncomfortable truth gets twisted into a soft-focused panel of eye rolls, empty affirmations, and softball questions lobbed like it's Pilates for controversy. And just when you thought The View couldn't sink lower, enter the Bidens.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist. You see?
Hypothetical. So spicy it should have come with a warning label. Imagine if Kat or I were even remotely linked to a $450 million fraud case that we'd be canceled faster than Joy Behar forgets she's not supposed to interrupt guests. The double standard. It wasn't just peeking through that IT was doing backflips, cartwheels, and a full Broadway routine all over America's screens. And let's not forget, this isn't The View's first scandal rodeo. That studio practically attracts public disasters like moths to a virtue signaling flame. But this one? Oh, this one didn't just take the cake that IT baked it in irony, frosted it with karma, and served it on a silver platter of schadenfreude. And Greg and Kat, They didn't just take a bite, they turned it into a full 6-course roast feast and invited the whole country to dine. And to seal the deal, Greg and Kat served it all up with a big OL side of told you so, fully garnished. No crumbs left behind, but the beauty of their takedown wasn't how loud it was. No screaming. No tantrums. It was precision, surgical, ice cold, calm, calculated sarcasm that cut cleaner than a courtroom cross-exam.
You know who just stunk up the View. The Bidens joined the View this morning for the entire hour. The audience was caught off guard, but knew something was up when they saw a dozen Secret Service agents and 2 embalmers. There were a few awkward moments, though, when a confused Joe asked if he could bid on the showcase. But was he surprised Kamala lost?
Point at the glaring irony of a self-proclaimed moral warrior caught in a web spun entirely from her own lectures to a trap made of her own words. Poetic, isn't it? Meanwhile, the View, they just kept spinning like a broken record at a yoga retreat, praying the storm would vibe away. Spoiler alert. It's not going anywhere, not this time, because here's the thing. While Gutfeld and Kat have mics, brains, and sarcasm radars tuned to high frequency, the real lesson isn't just the scandal itself, but it's what the scandal exposes. The entire smug little ecosystem the View thrives in. A world where virtue signaling is currency, where outrage is selective, and where accountability is a foreign concept. The View isn't just a show. It's a sanctimony factory running on double standards, and this scandal, it just blew the whole house down.
Oh. That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. They're turning on me. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull.
A world where accountability gets outsourced to the PR department, double standards fly business class, and reality gets tumble-dried in a 24-hour cable cycle. Meanwhile, Sunny's legal team is probably lighting scented candles and chanting mantras to avoid a full panic meltdown. And the rest of us, we're just here for the comedy. Greg and Kat did what they do best. Exposing hypocrisy, laughing it in the face, and serving it back on a platter so entertaining, you forget you're watching real life. Drama. Except this isn't just a sitcom that it's got a court date and a $450 million cliffhanger at the end of the day. The View might try to sweep this mess under the rug. Business as usual. Fake smiles, fresh cue cards. But thanks to Greg and Kat, the scandal is now permanently etched into the Hall of Hypocrisy, framed in gold under the title, Sunnyside Fraud. And no matter how much foundation, flattering lighting, or spin gets slapped on this mess, the facts aren't fading. The jokes are only getting sharper. And Greg and Kat? Oh, they'll absolutely be front row when the sequel hits. If you're loving this takedown as much as we are, don't forget to hit that like, smash subscribe, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. I will see you in the next one. And who knows, maybe the View will serve up another scandal on a silver platter. Until then, stay sharp, stay watching.